If you are looking to unlock your very first unassisted bodyweight chin-up, I'm going to take you through every progression you need to do just that. Whether you are at the beginning of your chin-up journey and are struggling to hang on the bar, or maybe you are a little bit further ahead and have got a nice controlled eccentric, but just need the strength for that upward motion, this is the video for you. Let's get into it. The first chin-up progression I want to go over are some feet-assisted low bar variations. If you were doing this at the gym, I like doing this at a squat rack or a Smith machine because you can adjust the bar heights. If you're doing this at an outdoor calisthenics park, you can use the P-bars. I like programming these for a multitude of reasons. Firstly, it's a good way to have concentric pulling body weight strength in your program, especially if you've only been practicing eccentric chin-ups. Two, if you're still building your hanging strength, this is a great way to build your grip strength, but to also still expose yourself to some body weight pulling exercises. For the first couple of levels, you want to set the bar up at a height where you can be in a straight arm position at the bottom, and also that you can realistically pull your chin over the bar. For all the levels that I'm about to go over, I want you to get into the habit of initiating each movement with shoulder depression. And what I mean by that is when you're here at the bottom in this stretch position, I want you to think about the shoulders depressing down to the hips, so then that way you can get as much lat engagement as possible. For level 1, your feet are going to stay on the ground the whole time. So I'm going to grab the bar with my underhand grip, stretch position here. The shoulders go down to the hips, the elbows go vertically down to the floor, my chin goes above the bar, the chest is at the bar, and then I'm lowering down. With these feet-assisted variations, it can become really easy to just squat the movement up and down. And that's where intention and mind to muscle play a really important part in actually developing your upper body pulling strength. When you are doing this movement, really focus on making sure that the activation is coming from the upper body. So grip the bar tight, feel your biceps, feel your back doing the movement. Something that can help with these activations is trying to be as light on your feet as possible throughout the entirety of the movement. A common mistake with this exercise is that people can be quite far away from the bar, so it looks kind of like this. You want to make sure you are under the bar, because when you do a full chin-up, that's where you're going to be. Your next progression is still feet-assisted, except now we've brought in this box to elevate the feet. Play around with the bar height because that's going to be dependent on how tall the box is. We're going to elevate the feet, and we still want to make sure that we're set up with our arms straight at the bottom. From here, the shoulders depress again, elbows vertically down, chest to bar, chin above the bar, and then back down. Again, mind to muscle. We're thinking more about the upper body in the movement rather than the lower body. A common mistake to look out for here is that the hips extend and you end up turning this into a horizontal row. So just watch out that you're not coming backwards and pushing the hips up to the bar. You want to make sure that you're staying vertical, the torso is upright in the movement. Let's just say that you've been working on your feet-assisted variations, and on top of that, you've also been getting better at your unassisted hanging. That means now you're ready for level 3. Level 3 looks similar to level 1 in that you have this feet-assisted chin-up, but now we're going to add in an isometric hold. So hold, feet go back down, and then we lower down into that feet-assisted chin-up again. With that isometric hold at the top, what I like to do is lift up 1 foot at a time so that you're gradually transferring the body weight to just your upper body. When done correctly, these variations will teach you the right technique and the activations needed to do clean, unassisted bodyweight chin-ups. So what I want you to focus on with this particular level is how it feels at the top in that isometric hold to depress the elbows and shoulders down to the floor. So you've done this part of the movement. When you're holding up here, think about how it feels to bring the shoulders down to the hips, to feel the lats, to feel the biceps working, and then lowering down. That isometric hold at the top really teaches you how much tension you need to generate in your upper body in order to be able to do unassisted chin-ups. Our last low bar variation is going to be the hardest one yet, because we are now going to get you holding on your own without any feet assistance for a little bit longer. We're going to do a feet-assisted concentric, so upwards phase. We're going to do an isometric hold, and then we're going to lower down without the feet touching the floor. Now, when you're doing that, your eccentric, the lowering part of the movement, might not be as slow as mine to begin with, but that's okay. Remember, progress isn't just about plussing 1 rep every single time. It can be an improvement in the quality of movement. So say you have a 4-week program and you might be doing 4 reps every week, but it might be that in week 1, your rep moved like this, but then by week 4, maybe your rep starts to move like that. That is a massive, massive win, and it does show that you're ready for other harder variations. The next phase of your training to unlock your chin up is now going to be done on the high bar. What you're going to do is a superset, so 2 exercises back to back. One exercise in this superset is going to target the bottom part of your chin up, and the other exercise is going to target the top part of your chin up, because in order to do a chin up, you need to be strong in the entire range of motion. The first one is going to be an active straight arm hold. Watch my shoulders. I'm going to come down into my dead hang. I'm going to look up, and then I'm going to depress the shoulders down to the hips, and I'm going to hold. I'm going to keep my arms straight. As I do this hold, I'm thinking about how it feels to really depress the shoulders down to the hips and that activation and tension that is required to do this. I'd program anywhere between 5 and 20 seconds for that exercise. I think anything above 20 seconds becomes a bit redundant and is probably a sign that you should be doing something a bit more advanced. The other option you have for this part of the superset, the bottom part of the chin up, is a scap chin up. So for that, we're in our underhand grip. I'm gonna look up because it's good habits. If you've been on my channel before, you know that I program chin ups looking up. From here, I'm going to keep my arms straight, depress the shoulders down, and then go back to that stretch position. Depress and stretch. Something I like to do here with the scap chin ups is to really explore the range of motion. So that's gonna look something like this. Full stretch here. As I depress, I'm going to explore the range through the thoracic extension and then come back. That part's not really necessary for a beginner chin-up video, but it's there if you want the option and if you want to have that extra bit of mobility and skill. So now you've got 2 options for the bottom part of your chin-up in that superset. Now I'm going to give you 2 options for the top part of your chin-up in that superset. Option 1 is your slightly easier level, and what that's going to be is an isometric hold at the top of your chin-up. So what I'm going to do here in my underhand grip is I'm going to step off my box and I'm going to hold my chin up position so that my chin stays at the top of the bar. So I'm here, I'm getting ready to grip tight, depress the shoulders down, and I'm going to hold. The reason why this box is quite high is that I can just step into the movement. I find that if you're doing it at a lower box and you have to jump up, it does take a bit of energy to have to kind of restabilize yourself because the legs are shaking. So this is probably your most efficient way to do it, which probably requires the least amount of thinking as well. Remember that the whole point of these progressions are not just to build strength, but to also build technique and coordination so you can get the right activations. So when I'm up here in this isometric hold, I really want to think about my shoulder positioning. So say I'm here for like 10 seconds, I don't just want to be counting down the 10 seconds. I want to focus on how it feels to have the shoulder blades down to the hips and the elbows vertically down. This exercise might feel really hard, but a good marker of progression is going to be maybe you start with the shoulders elevated like this and slightly rounded, but then as you get better, the shoulders come down and it feels a lot easier to be able to do this movement with the shoulders nice and open. Now, if you do end up going for a superset that includes that isometric chin-up hold as well as either the scap chin-up or the active bottom hold, I do recommend still having one of the feet-assisted variations that I showed you earlier in your program. This way, through that superset, you get to practice some pretty hard progressions of being at the top and the bottom of your chin-up, but with the feet-assisted variation, you are also then able to get more exposure to the rest of the range of the chin-up. If you want to get your first unassisted chin-up, you should be doing them at least twice a week anyway, so perfect programming option for you. Now, I did say I was going to give you 2 options for this superset at the top part of the movement, so now we're just going to spice this up with a second option. What I'm going to do here is an isometric hold at the top, as well as a slow, controlled eccentric down to the bottom. Maybe when you first start programming this, you'll only be able to control the eccentric down for 3 seconds, but as you progress, you'll then be able to go down for 10 seconds. By the way, if you're enjoying this technique breakdown and you do want to see how these progressions are implemented into an actual workout, I do have a playlist of a bunch of beginner minimal equipment calisthenics workouts that incorporate some of these progressions. I'll make sure to pop a playlist in the description below. Let's move on from that superset to what I think is my favorite chin-up progression, which is the high bar feet assisted chin-up. The step height or box height that you're going to use will be dependent on a few different factors. The first one is how high the bar is. So if the bar is quite high, you might need quite a high step. And then the other factor that this depends on is also how much feet assistance you need. For this exercise, I'm only going to use feet assistance for the range of the chin up that I need. So for example, in week 1, I might need to use feet assistance all the way until here. Make sure you do the eccentric to the full dead hang. But then maybe by week 6, I just need a lower box. That's where the different box heights come in. And maybe I just need 1 foot on there. And then I only need the feet assistance for just that bottom part. I do like to program these quite low rep because then you're able to use as little feet assistance as possible throughout the entirety of the set. There are so many ways to program for this. It could be 4 weeks of 3 sets of 3 reps. And the progress for this is, despite the reps staying fixed, the feet assistance needed decreases each week. But if 3 by 3 feels quite hard and feels like you have to use a lot of feet assistance in the movement, maybe what you'll do is week 1, 3 sets of 1 rep. Week 2, 4 sets of 1 rep, and then you finish off with 5 sets of 1 rep. And even with a set and rep scheme like that, there could be different ways to kind of manipulate that for progress as well. So for example, it could be 3 by 1 and you have 90 seconds of rest in between your 3 sets. But then in week 2, you progress it by doing 3 by 1 and only 60 seconds of rest. There are honestly so many ways that you can manipulate sets, reps, and rest to see progress and to keep challenging yourself, but that's a whole different rabbit hole. So if you want a video on that, just let me know in the comments and I'll make one. But in the meantime, let's go over everyone's favorite chin-up progression, which is the banded chin-up. Banded chin-ups in your program can either be really productive or incredibly unproductive. I think programming banded chin-ups are great for when you are super close to your first unassisted chin-up, or when you maybe have 1 or 2 but need just a little bit of extra help in volume. So in saying that, that's why I only really recommend banded chin-ups if you can do them with a thin band like this, or maybe like a thin moderate band like this. Anything thicker than this, I think you should probably be doing one of the other multiple chin-up progressions that I've shown you already in this video. If you are using such a thick band, you are getting way too much assistance and not actually building strength in the hardest part of the chin-up, which tends to be the bottom. So check it out. So for this, you'll just loop the band around the bar. You're going to step into it, 1 foot in, underhand grip, and then same things that we've been practicing. Shoulders down, elbows down, chest to the bar, come back down. Surprise, surprise, I do like programming banded chin-ups in a lower rep range because in that way you are more inclined to use a thinner band and having to use more of your actual strength as well. I know this video is about getting your first chin-up, but if you do have a couple of reps under your belt and you're looking to try to clean up your technique, programming some banded chin-ups can help as well because in that way you can practice the full movement with cleaner technique and just a little bit of assistance. And there you have it, every progression you need to unlock your first bodyweight unassisted chin-up. While today's video was just on these specific chin-up progressions, there are also a bunch of different pull-down variations and bicep curl variations that you can include throughout the rest of your programming to further speed up your calisthenics progress. So if you're interested in a video about that, let me know in the comments below. Or if you have any other questions about calisthenics in general, feel free to ask in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.